knife in the back, I'ma swing all around like a baseball bat. Gonna see it out, and hate on that. I'll play both sides, there will be no cap. I'ma ride or die, my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high. Streets on my head, so up, yeah, I'm all love. I'm not the one, that's who think of now we're done. It's not so done, you ain't no fun. And now you're gonna face on the barrel of the gun. Like a full clip, put your name on it. But I'll extract you ain't with it. Done, stay strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Done, stay strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming. Shit on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I was swinging down till it hits them in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna let that soft back. Give me one shot and I'll never get the phone back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'm a go constant thing, can't stop it. So I'm stealing everybody's name, cut a shot. I'm sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes people change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's the same, we all live for pain. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Okay, only God wants to let it go. Cash in the bag, baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad. chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back, I'm swinging on till it hits them in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me, ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact, give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cross anything, can't stop us. I'ma say that everybody's name, cut a shot list. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy cane. Today's week will change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's the same, we all live for fame. Baby, one room side, just like one that I'm on me down. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up. It's like I'm crazy, I'm mad. Oh God, only God wants to let it go. I'm catching the bad, baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. Swing home run with a baseball bat, gonna see you out and hate on that. I'll play both sides, there will be no cap. I'm a ride or die, my dreams on tap. I'm a fly real hungry. Seats on my head so up, yeah, I'm on love. I'm number one, mess with me, no, now we're done. It's not so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna face on the rail with a gun. Like a full clip, put your name on it. But all these tracks, you ain't with it. Done, stay strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming. Done, stay strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming. Yo, sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My red and blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switch your side, you see things, realize something needs change. 'Cause I know you got me fucked up. Let me show you what's up. 'Cause enough is enough. I'll take a peaceful payment to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. All kind of adrenaline wasted, so glad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes to make a mistake like that. I'll play to their faces to make it come take it back. I'll lose my shit and I'm crazy when I'm mad. And I ain't gon' wait till shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, I know there's no turning back. I'll fucking take so got my poker over you, joking overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your hole to do. Eat it up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Never find the time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty. worse, so you can just hide while I work. I'm tired, you first. I'll write second, third verse. About the lies you go disperse. You never do shit, I know it hurts. Something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck you lies, I'll do what I want. I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to be me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And down, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, intrinsically unwilling to. But in the fucking hours it takes to get some power. Fucking sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And fuck all the doubters, they're just fucking downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always want just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns. Who were all taught they deserve it now. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. But it's not what it seems, and it's hard to be seen. When everybody wants to be king, yeah, they all wanna win, yeah, we all wanna be free. So show me what you got, what you bring, how you fight in the ring, how you take a fucking team. Do you got heart, are you mean, got some stars, got some needs, are you willing to go lead? I swear to God they all let me down. I always want just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns. We're all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Try to play it, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what to do remain easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Bloody hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling them out, pushing the train. Moving the stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go where you're aim. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the testing. Expect nothing less, your check is on chest, I'm trapping in next. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no comment his second. His life is a lesson, he got a new engine for real, it's a blessing. New focus, no racing, just for an obsession. I'm in this possession, you got your attention. I'm leaving impression and take your redemption. Just feel no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11 is time for progression. The try to play what you never gonna do. The other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. The hands hang from the big blue sea. The hands break through the chains, go free. People let shit go free, but it is. Don't wanna be that's the same on the sea. Never stand tall, ready for a flip of deep. You try to change, you can say no free. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him. Instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Speaking on pace, running the race. Life is a case, I don't wanna place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, the agitated burst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions in the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from a weak mind. Take a space off to the change life, to create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no main boss, just my life and free thoughts. The giant way that you never gonna be. The other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands hang from the big blue sea. Bloody hands break through the chains, go free. People let shit go free, but it is. Don't wanna be that's the same on the sea. Better stand tall, ready for a flame deep. We try to change, you can say no free. Swear I won't forget this. Why do I regret this? In my mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious. I feel so defenseless, betrayed and embarrassed. I hate being open, I hate being broken. I feel like an ocean, filled up with emotion. Anger and emotion, rub it on like lotion. I can feel it soaking, the open, the scars have awoken. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath holds. I can't move on till I let go. I can't move on till I let go. savage, I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, and no one won't start to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head, constantly thoughts jumble around, think I need a new lobotomy, but all these thoughts are too negative. I wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show 'em what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let 'em, but I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna wait, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I gotta taste and act. I'll be obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch.
Friends, but my downfall is toxic. Day one, turning to outlaws for profit. All I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy up for me, just being honest. And the fake boys hate, but it's not to avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
friends, money, crime, fame, a disease, a plague. They all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on this is war with the enemy. Think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me. I know no so festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, but there's logic. You can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a voice on the rise. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a weird disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you see greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase, bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a god, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. Time to stand strong, need to move on to keep what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Time to stay strong, need to move on to keep what I want. I'll keep dreaming. Gateways on, I chase like that. I play so strong, the knife in the back of my swing home run, like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rising the hate on that. I don't play both sides, you don't need no cap. I'm a ride or die, my dreams on tap. I'm a fly real high, gonna see me stack. My style ain't on, so you get right back. Guns, I get tough, calluses on my ass so rough. Yeah, I'm on bluff, I'm number one. Mess with me, come now we're done. I'm so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna miss on the barrel of the gun. So I gotta put your name on it. But all the signs you ain't legit. Time to stay strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Time to stay strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming. been driving this train. Years in this game, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, take a step. swing rhymes and pop rhymes for fiction. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top and they need replacement? Who's at the top, think better on race, let's face it. I don't give up, I don't give up shit, I don't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise. taste of evil and try to get a sickness. But I'll just keep my head down and focus on the facts. I'm setting down gravel while you just follow the path. I'll lead them into battle while you're just too scared to act.